The log trend of Bitcoin over time is the best performing asset of all recorded history, and it remains so in every single up business cycle. There is no asset that's ever performed as well. So if you just step back and say, oh, I bought crypto and it fell, hold it. Your time horizon cannot be 3 years. Mankind has never gone through anything like this. This is going to be very big. And even through this, what we call crypto winter, the brands are still interested in this.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Crypto. In a recent interview with Dean DiBiase, Raoul Pal discussed his latest thesis on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. Pal is a big believer in what he calls the exponential age, wherein all technology models, including crypto, converge simultaneously in a way that mankind has never experienced. Pal refers to Bitcoin as the best performing asset in recorded history, despite its volatility that deceives short-term investors into believing they are losing money. He argues that by examining the log chart of Bitcoin, we can clearly see its smooth upward trend since its inception. Pal thus encourages investors to extend their time horizon when investing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Additionally, as cryptocurrencies become more mainstream, customers are increasingly requesting that institutions offer cryptocurrency services. By being exposed to crypto, institutions can meet this demand and potentially attract new customers. Let's listen to Raoul Pal as he elaborates on his exponential thesis regarding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But before we do, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we bring you daily content on the latest crypto news. And now, let's jump right into the video.
To understand this, I've been involved in this market since 2013 when I first saw Bitcoin. I wrote the first ever macroeconomic strategy paper and valuation for Bitcoin. So I've been all over this space. And the one thing when I wrote that first article is you need a 10-year time horizon. Everything else is done. And if you are worried about these cycles, you are trading it wrong. You're trading and not investing in the adoption of a network. So how does crypto work? Crypto is driven by two things. It's really simple. Network adoption, which is Metcalfe's law. So that's the number of active users plus basically the number of connections or applications for those users. That is what drives the long-term trend. The log trend of Bitcoin over time is the best performing asset of all recorded history, and it remains so in every single up business cycle. There is no asset that's ever performed as well. But it is cyclical, driven by the money supply and the liquidity cycle.
And the emotions.
And that's what brings it down 70 or 80%. So everyone goes, what? It comes down 70, 80%. You've got to remember that if I look at, I'm just looking at the Bitcoin chart now, the low in 2015 was $200. Then it went all the way up to $20,000. And then it corrected down to $2,800. All the lows are massively higher and the highs are massively higher. So if you just step back and say, oh, I bought crypto and it fell, hold it. Your time horizon cannot be 3 years. Your time horizon needs to be long enough for the network adoption model to work. And the best way of doing that is just using a log chart and looking at it within that. And it's a very smooth uptrend. And then what you do is you learn to use the down cycle, the liquidity cycle, to add to your investment over time, much like you would have done with Amazon, or you would have done with Google, or you would have done with Microsoft. They're very similar models. I'm a big believer in what I call the exponential age. And the exponential age is this nexus of all of these technologies all hitting network adoption models at the same time. That's cryptocurrency, AI, robotics, longevity sciences, biotech, Internet of Things, self-driving car, all of these things, EV, green energy, all of these things are all hitting at the same time. Mankind has never gone through anything like this. And you can either shake your fist at the sky and say, stop changing, or you can embrace it. And to me, this is a renaissance. This is the roaring 20s is going to be fundamentally a shift than what we knew in the last 50 years. I don't think Bitcoin will be a payment system except using the Lightning layer for moving dollars around. So it's fine for that. It's fine if you're PayPal and you're in the monetary system because you give people a different product to use. But nobody wants to be the Bitcoin pizza guy and buy, a couple of books on Amazon for Bitcoin and then realize because the Bitcoin goes up too much over time.
Too volatile. Yeah.
It's too volatile to do that with. So I know it seems fancy. There is a Bitcoin and ETH economy, and you can get a share of that economy, and that economy can do very well. So, we take payments in ETH or Bitcoin or whatever at Real Vision. That's fine. Some people want to do that because they've accumulated a lot of capital in those particular assets. But generally speaking, it's a bit of a red herring, I think, for that. Ethereum itself is becoming the payment system of the internet. It's very interesting because it is a base currency of which we quote things like NFTs in ETH itself. I've never seen that in my life.
Pal notes that institutions are still highly interested in Bitcoin, despite the crypto winter. His big theory in crypto relates to the potential of Web3 to transform the way brands capitalize on community and customer loyalty in order to create entirely new revenue streams. Pal believes that missing out on these technological advancements such as cryptocurrency and AI would be a huge mistake, primarily due to their total and absolute adoption, and secondly because of their ridiculous growth acceleration, which creates life-changing opportunities.
I look at a lot of Web3, and it's being built from the ground up, and they're all experiments. Some will fail, some will work. Great. But when I look at what Web3 does, it enables a bunch of really, really big intangibles on a balance sheet. Culture, brand, community, to become tangibles via tokenization. So I always use the example of Disney. Disney probably has the largest cultural brand on earth now. It might have been Coca-Cola in the 60s, but it's not now. It's Disney. What is Disney's brand, community, and culture worth? $1 trillion? $2 trillion? It's worth a lot more than the company is. Now, it's not realizable, but when you tokenize it, it creates that. Music, right? Music's one of the biggest cultural phenomena of human activity. Sports, gigantic. Fashion, gigantic. And then on top of that, entertainment, whether it's film franchises, book, TV, all of these things have cultural currency that can be tokenized. So the idea of that, we built an amazing team with some incredible advisors to go and talk the talk that needs to happen at boardrooms, not by a bunch of, crypto heads with hoodies, but serious people to go in there and explain how we can unlock massive trapped value for these massive communities and drive forward this whole space. This is going to be very big. And even through this, what we call crypto winter, the brands are still interested in this because they're thinking, okay, what this allows me to do, in addition to turning it to a tangible on the balance sheet, it allows me to have customer loyalty in a way that the alignment of incentives makes it a very powerful network effect, because your customers, by owning digital assets from your ecosystem, will appreciate in time, or they can accumulate more of them by being good community members, are now passionate behind your brands, much like kids trade Nike sneakers. So they're thinking, okay, this is going to make people more loyal, and we'll have a direct relationship with our community or buyers by doing this, and therefore we can collapse the costs of using middlemen like Google and Facebook, etc. at the middle too. AI is going to impact every single industry that's based around knowledge. I cannot stress what a nuclear bomb this is for both productivity, deflationary forces, and the knowledge-based economy. It's going to create huge losers, like the shutting down of coal mines, car plants, and steel mills did. There's going to be a lot of people who are laid off in this cycle that will never get a job again. But I mean, you look at what's going on. 42% of all code in GitHub now is AI generated. Yep. So that's only going to go exponential and accelerate. So we've got an issue now that in the vertical level, AI, as you know, was better than humans at single tasks. Yep. but now it's becoming more generalized. So it's becoming better at humans at all tasks. So what we're doing here is humans have imagination, and humans put it into action, whether it's businesses, art, anything. And in the middle of that is lawyers, accountants, and knowledge workers. We collapse that all down. So your imagination can be a text prompt or soon to be a voice prompt, and it will create video, audio, code, anything for anybody. So it's impossible to overstate the importance of AI. It is possible to overstate where we are in the cycle. We've just gone through this ridiculous acceleration phase, and we will probably end up with a bubble, which will probably unwind. But still, like crypto, the adoption of this thing is absolute and total. The other thing is pretty obvious. If you're an investor, the one thing you need for all of this, every single part of the exponential age, is a silicon chip. So the semiconductor companies will do very well because they become the gatekeepers to computational power, which is needed. But in companies themselves, I just choose broad baskets of this stuff because we don't know. And so much of this is still early. You know, we don't even know in the biotech space what's going to have the breakthroughs, but we know when you add AI to the human genome, we will solve cancer and all of these things very quickly. When does that come? I don't know, but is that going to be a Cambrian moment, just like we've seen with ChatGPT?
Probably.
Yes. It's going to literally change the world.
A major factor in the growing interest is how institutions view Bitcoin as a hedge against financial uncertainty. The institutional interest in cryptocurrencies is increasing, but it will take time for institutions to understand the space and develop the appetite for core cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, suggests Pal. Early adopters are likely to be encouraged by such developments, showing that new buyers are joining in on the long-term trend. What's your take on Pal's exponential thesis on Bitcoin and crypto? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. This is Let's Talk Crypto, and we'll see you in the next video.